The unions want that pipeline, and the unions trump the environmentalist wackos every time. That's why if Obama wins after the election, that pipeline is going to be authorized. That pipeline is going to be okayed. The unions want it. Obama's buddies right now, that's just campaign donations, both sides of the issue. That's why. The last thing Barack Obama is ever going to do, and I mean this as seriously as I've meant anything, the last thing he's going to do is what's good for the country. That's not his objective. It's not who he is. It's not what he's about. It never has been, and it never will be. Now, I want to share with you some of the quotes. Some of the not actually quotes, but some of the references here in this New York Times article on the ChiComs. I mean, it's just how we can have such a stupid bonehead media. They're upset at big government in China. It's a communist government. They're upset about it. It's so unfair to the entrepreneurs in the private sector in China. And yet in this country, the New York Times hates everybody in the private sector. Here, I'll give you some examples. After more than a decade in which private companies have been the prime engine of China's economic miracle, the ChiCom government is eager to control more of that wealth, even if it means running roughshod over private companies. Folks, I tell you, it's Twilight Zone. Just change this to the United States from China. You've got the same story. But these luggerheads at the New York Times don't see it. Who is this? David Barboza. He's the wizard of smart that wrote this piece. Chen Ziwu, a professor of finance at Yale, a harsh critic of the ChiCom's dominant role in the economy, says the ChiCom government is smothering the private sector. When the government is involved in business, it's hard for private companies to compete, said Professor Chen. This is from a professor of finance at Yale. This guy's not going to have his job long talking like this. I'm almost at a loss to express my incredulity here. A professor of finance at Yale. The ChiCom government is smothering the private sector. When the government is involved in business, it's hard for private companies to compete. Mr. Chen, what whiskey Tango Foxtrot's going on here? Right before your very academic eyes. The usurping of private enterprise has become so evident that the ChiComs have given it a nickname, Guojin Mintui, which translates as while the state advances, the privates retreat. I don't know how to react to this. We have a similar nickname here. It's called Obamonomics. Obamonomics. While the state advances, the privates retreat. Some prominent Chinese economists are warning that the potentially corrosive effects of an approach that favors government companies at the expense of the private sector could eventually stifle innovation, saying it could stunt China's long-term growth and quash the rising aspirations of the nation's 1.3 billion people. What would be so hard for these lugheads to write a story like that about this country? Why are they so worried about a massive government takeover in China, and yet the same people at the same newspaper applaud it, support it, and advocate it in this country? Worried about the ChiCom government overtaking the middle class, the private sector in China, and encouraging the very same thing in this country. If China doesn't deal with this problem and strengthen the private sector, this country's growth is not sustainable, said Zhu Chenggang, professor of economics, University of Hong Kong. Really? If America doesn't deal with this problem and strengthen the private sector, this country's growth is not sustainable. You could easily write that sentence. Am I making too big a deal of this? I'm sorry. I'm apoplectically incredulous here.